Tarver and Anthony Stewart at the U.S. Boxing Championships.
And here we go to the much anticipated light heavyweight matchup at 178 pounds. You will see on the left of your screen a 22-year-old native of Chicago, Illinois, a youngster by the name of Anthony Stewart, and his opponent, the #1 ranked light heavyweight in the United States, Antonio Tarver, the southpaw out of Orlando, Florida. Our third man in the ring is Bill Wackerly, who will serve as a referee, and we have a very special guest at ringside, Roy Jones, who, as you well know, is the existing super middleweight champion, IBF, and arguably the best boxer in the entire world, certainly, and a man who's a product of this wonderful U.S. amateur boxing program, was a silver medalist at the '88 Olympic Games. And as the two boxers come out here and feel each other out, Roy, I've got to ask you, did you see that earlier bout in which Wells was disqualified? It had to bring back memories of your Olympic experience.
It brought back some very, very, very deep memories. And Wells, he was holding a little too much, and he has to learn that, you have to abide by the rules. So it was a fair decision, but hopefully next year he can get it together and come back in.
What are you going to tell Wells in order to get over his disappointment? Because the look on his face reminded me so much of the look on yours that I saw in 1988.
Yeah, but there's a different look because he wasn't cheated. It's just something that he did not do that he was supposed to do. On my part, I was cheated, and it was something that was just taken away from me. So it's a very different look. But you tell him that just because he got disqualified this time doesn't mean it's over for him. He still has a chance next year.
Roy, talk about these. Do you know anything about Tarver, Stewart? Have you seen Tarver box?
I boxed against Tarver in 1983 down in Florida at the Sunshine State Games.
83 or 93?
83.
83?
At 12 or 13 years old. He took off until 88 when he saw me in the Olympics, and he told me that encouraged him to come back. And he's came back, and I think he's ranked pretty high in the amateurs now, and I'm so glad to see him back in action.
As a matter of fact, he is ranked high. He's ranked #1, and Tarver is a man on a roll right now, Roy. He's a mission-oriented man. He's overcome Benjamin McDowell. He won the Pan American gold medal. Antonio Tarver is on top of this weight class, and he's pleased to be there.
That's very good. I'm glad to see him there because, back in the days, a lot of guys fell off, and they didn't ever try to come back and retaliate and try to get to be anything. He watched and learned, I guess, over the years. He saw me up there and he realized that he could be there too. And I hope that one day he can get there.
The tough thing for Tarver, the one thing that always goes against you is when you previously boxed against an opponent, and he's gone against Stewart 3 times. Stewart did beat him in '94, but I think there's a little question mark about that bout. There's some thoughts that maybe, or rather he beat Tarver in '94, and there's some thoughts that maybe Tarver was the superior boxer even at that time.
That's why we have judges. You ask Tarver who won, it's clear cut who won in his mind. Right. You ask Stewart who won, and it's clear cut that he won. So,
well, that happens sometimes. Boxing is a mix-up sport. A lot of times opinions can be different. Even in the last fight that just went by, the guy from Colorado and the guy from Fort Bragg, a very close fight that could have won either way. So a lot of times that is left in the minds of people that they are winners.
Under 30 seconds to go in round #1. Sam Nover, Van Stokes, and our very special guest, Roy Jones, the super middleweight champion of the world, seated ringside here in Colorado Springs. Did you just come back to pay homage to the place where you got your start, huh?
The only reason I came back, and to encourage the guys,
Well, they love seeing you here. I know Pernell Whitaker's in the audience, and as we come near the end of round 1, we'll continue our conversation with Roy Jones. That feeling out process in the first round. Again, it's Anthony Stewart in the red corner and Antonio Tarver in the blue. Roy, dropped down as a professional. A lot of guys.
I didn't fight light heavyweight.
Oh, I thought you said you did.
No, I fought at junior middleweight as an amateur.
Okay, I thought you said you had previously fought at that weight. I was going to say that would be really strange to drop down as a pro.
I fought at junior middleweight. I have boxed a light heavyweight as an amateur, and I beat him. But in tournaments, I always win as junior middle. Actually, I started in '84. I won the JO National at 119.
Wow.
In '87, I jumped up to 139 and won the National Golden Gloves. Then '86, I did that. '87, I jumped up to 56 and won junior middleweight.
No, you never know where the body's going to stop growing, right?
That's right.
You got to be adjustable.
That's right. So I came from 119 to 168 now, and can go to 175.
Roy, you are really on your game right now. I mean, it's just a pleasure to watch you and stay abreast of the way you're going. But how special was this participation for you when you were an amateur boxer?
Well, this is where I learned everything, and this was the most learning period of my life, of my boxing career. Some of my better days were spent in these tournaments like this. A lot of guys, even when I was getting ready to fight Tony, they were like, well, the experience thing. Well, Tony never experienced being the champion at a tournament like this. I did. I had more experience as being a great amateur than he did. Therefore, I had the better experience going to the ring. They just looked at the pro fights where he got lucky on a couple of them. You know, he beat a couple good guys, which was cool. But I have this experience. This is the toughest experience in the world. As a professional, you don't often get to fight the Cubans and the Russians and the Great Britain. You know, you don't get to do all these things. In the amateurs right here, you do. And that's where you learn more than anything. Because once you turn professional, you're lucky if you get a chance to fight against a foreign guy.
Roy, as you look at Tarver perform now, what do you think goes through his mind when he sees you come back to a competition like this, knowing that he boxed you back in '83 and probably felt he was your equal then, and seeing what you've gone on to accomplish and knowing he's still here looking for a major, major conquest in his life?
Well, what's probably going through his mind is that, you know, he saw the distance that I took my career. So he probably wants to take his to that level, and it's probably more encouraging to him to see that I am back to encourage other people to try to take their careers to the level that I've taken mine.
A lot of people anxiously waiting to see Tarver box tonight because he's a serious contender for the U.S. Olympic team. He won the Pan Am Games recently, won his bout in the USA versus Russia competition. He has boxed, in fact, to a draw with the guy who was thought to be the #2 ranked light heavyweight in all of the world, a young man out of Germany. So, I mean, Tarver's fought the best, like Roy was saying. This is the most valuable experience you'll ever get as a boxer.
Right. That's right. And the only thing is, I hope that he takes his time, doesn't get impatient, and that he doesn't fight against everybody, because he doesn't need to fight everybody to prove it in the amateur if he's planning on turning pro.
How about the head game, Roy? He's a pretty popular figure in Orlando, where he comes from, and every time I see him, he's ready to step up in front of the TVs. What are you going to tell him mentally?
Well, don't let the TV interfere with your boxing game, because without the boxing game, the TV wouldn't be there. That's the one thing you have to remember.
Well, Stewart promised us tonight he would pressure Tarver. Do you see that, Roy, in the bout?
No, Stewart is not actually pressuring him now like he probably should, because him being shorter, he should make it an inside fight, but he's not doing too much of that. He started out good in the second round, but first round he gave away because he stayed outside. Now he's giving away a lot because he's still outside. And Tarver is a left-hander, so that means that's more pressure that has to be on. If you don't, then you let him sit back and think, and there's no way you should beat a southpaw, especially at 6'2", if you don't pressure.
How difficult is it to box a man who's 6 inches taller than you are?
Very, very difficult. And some of the worst people you ever want to fight, the guys who that much taller, they'll get shot.
Those are some of the hardest days in your life, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Roy Jones visiting with us here as we come to the end of round number 2. Under 30 seconds to go. Roy, if you'll kind enough stay around with round number 3, let's get a verdict out of this one. I know where your heart is tonight.
That's right. In Orlando, Florida.
In Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, Tarver seems to be doing all right here at the moment. So
anytime it's a Florida guy, I got to be willing.
Especially if he's from Pensacola, right?
That's right. But he's from Orlando. That's close enough.
Yeah.
I mean, but the other guy, you know, he's a good game guy, and he just needs to put more pressure. You know, everybody is out to win, and as long as they give their best efforts, that's all you can ask for.
End of round number 2. Antonio Tarver appearing to be cruising to victory here. Bell and start of round number 3, the final round for Anthony Stewart and Antonio Tarver. 3 rounds to go.
Talked about Tarver being on a mission. His win over the Cuban in the Pan American Games was a very, very big win. Gave him a lot of confidence. Decision Gabriel Hernandez, and then went on decision Thompson Garcia of Dominican Republic for that gold medal.
Stewart had a very nice road here to the finals. One on a decision. Referee stopped the contest in another bout, and on a retirement. So he's reached the finals, winning by a lot of different variations. As Roy Jones sits ringside with us, observing his buddy Antonio Tarver up there trying to reestablish himself. He is already ranked number 1 in the United States, but he's got a lot to look ahead of him, Roy. What's it like 16 months before the Olympic Games? Of course, you were our representative in 1988 and got robbed, but what's he thinking about? He's got to be focused on Atlanta.
He has to be very focused, and it's very hard to stay focused because this is the most pivotal time of his career. He has to make sure nothing goes bad, and this is when stuff is going to try to go bad for him at this point because he's almost there. Everything looks perfect for him, but you got to remember, some guys out there looking at 88 as their last chance to knock him out the way. At 96 as their last chance to knock him out of the way and make their way on the team. This is exactly what I did. I sat back in the cut and waited for my chance in 88 to take everybody else out of the way. I didn't let him see much of me until that point. Right now, I think he has the other guy in trouble. I think he keeps pressuring the man and stopping himself.
He's got Anthony Stewart in trouble over against the corner, and there's
there it is. Referee stopped. No, standing 8 count. I thought maybe he was going to stop it, but he's given Anthony Stewart a standing 8 count, and he may very well stop it too at this point. Yeah. He has. You bet he did. It's all over. Antonio Tarver, with a little urging from ringside, and his good buddy, the super middleweight champion Roy Jones, has defeated Anthony Stewart. The referee has stopped the contest here in the third round, and a good decision, I think, on the part of referee Wackerly.
And we get a good look at Antonio Tarver as he works Stewart over into the corner and then literally turns up the heat, presses the metal to the pedal. And away they go, forcing the referee to step in and give that count.
All right, let's get the official decision now. We know who's won it. Let's go to our ring announcer once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee stops contest 1 minute and 43 seconds in the third round. Your 1995 U.S. champion in the light heavyweight division, Antonio Tarver, blue corner.
So the celebration now begins.